In 2020, during that very game-changing year, right, at the height of all of the racial tension and all of the things that were happening, I happened to be watching a video of Ben Shapiro talking about systemic racism, right? And so I'm watching the video and I start to feel this very uncomfortable, unsettling, I would even say like grieving in my spirit of what he was talking about. Now, some of you heard Ben Shapiro and y'all got all like, no, that's part of the problem. We got to stop being emotional and actually listen to what people who don't think like us or we don't normally agree with, what they're actually saying. That's part of the issue. Like, we don't actually listen to each other. We just make assumptions, right? And so I agree with him on certain things, and some things I just don't, right? So that's part of being an adult. Now, because of things that God was revealing to me and showing to me about politics and things that were happening in the nation and how it just challenged everything that I had known up until, or everything I thought I knew up until 2019, I try my best, right, to say, you know what, God, what is your perspective on this? And so I prayed and I said, Lord, what is the state of Black America? Because what I heard was just so grievous to me and just so discomforting in my spirit that I needed to pray. So I prayed about it and I went to bed. And 3:00 that morning, I was awakened by this excruciating pain to the point where I was almost going to pass out. And I was literally fighting to try to stay alert so that I didn't pass out. And so I nudged my husband. I'm like, babe, you got to pray. I don't know what's happening to me. Pray. I'm like, babe, pray. And so he begins to pray. And the pain that I was in, it lifted. That thing just lifted like it was a blanket. Okay. It was just gone. Just like that. Like it was never there. And so right away I knew that, okay, this is a spiritual attack. And I wasn't going back to sleep because I'm like, I need to know what's going on in the spirit. Now, if you're an intercessor, then you know, that's prayer time, okay? It's time to go to war. So anyway, so I go and sit where I normally go to pray and get into the presence of God. And I sit there and I hear the Lord say that Black Americans are Jews. And when you don't know who you are, you abuse yourself and you are subject to be abused by others. And this revelation blew my mind. And I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, by the way. I am a Christian, okay? This is what God revealed to me. I hold to Christian doctrine, okay? I am a Christian. I am saved by Jesus Christ, right? By belief in Jesus Christ, okay? So let me just get that out the way, all right? I looked up the term Jew, and what it means is someone who is of the tribe of Judah. So not only was God revealing this ethnic identity, right? But he was also revealing the tribe of Judah. There's archaeological evidence to support that biblical Jews are Black. I will also say this. I don't believe that all Black people are Jews. I don't believe all Jews are Black. But again, this is what God revealed to me about a particular group of people here in America. And so since getting this revelation, it changed my perspective and made me realize if I had any doubt before, that this is spiritual warfare, that this is a spiritual battle. The enemy knows who you are and you don't. Some of your enemies in the natural, like people, know who you are, but you don't. And what many people have done, what this system, if you want to talk about systemic racism, has done, has manipulated the Black community here in America. Because there's so much confusion of identity, it's been using the Black community as pawns in their political game. You see, because this is a spiritual battle, then this has to be fought in the spirit. And the only way we can fight this in the spirit is by first acknowledging God acknowledging Jesus in all of our ways, including how we view society, including how we view politics, including how we view race. A part of that is forgiveness. I don't care what TV says. I don't care what the news says. I don't care what happens tomorrow in the news. It is completely unbiblical for you to walk around in anger and hurt and hostility and resentment towards anybody, even this country, because of the history of this country. It's time for Black America to heal. It is time for you to heal and walk in your true identity as God's people. Just think of how the enemy has convinced the people of God to wear the label of oppressed people with pride. God said, I will make you the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. But if you obey him, he says, choose life. And we've been choosing death in so many ways. We've been choosing death in our culture. We've been choosing death in our music. We've been choosing death in abortion or supporting it by vote. We've even been choosing death by wearing the label of oppressed or marginalized people. And that's not the identity that God gave you. The issues that are plaguing Black America is an issue of identity. It's not something that a vote is going to fix. It's not something that any politician is going to fix. It's not something that any law is going to fix. But it is something that you can fix by repenting and turning to the true and living God, by putting your trust in him. And it's not something that money is going to fix. I know a lot of us are pursuing generational wealth, which I think is great. Go ahead, continue. I think that's awesome, right? Because that's been part of the issue too, how we've been indoctrinated to view wealth, not even to even think about it, to really just be in survival mode, because that is a part of the agenda of continuing to remind you of the history of slavery and to tell you that you're oppressed. So you're stuck in survival mode and you can't even fathom having generational wealth. That's been part of the issue. So I think it's amazing that we've come to this place in our culture where we're embracing the idea of having generational wealth. But that's not going to fix it either. It can only be fixed by turning to God. 2 Chronicles 7 verse 14 says this: if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. That's the answer.